Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your Monday Night Raw post show, man. And there is a lot to talk about in today's episode. We hear from the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. We also have the semifinal match in the King of the Ring tournament in both the men's and women's bracket. We got Io Sky in action, taking on Raquel Rodriguez. We also have an announcement for a matchup at Night of Champions, which we'll talk about in today's episode as well. We had Chad Gable in action as well, taking on Rusev. We also hear from LA Knight. We have Roxanne Perez in action, taking on Charlotte Flair. We also hear from one of the contenders in the King of the Ring tournament, Javon Evans. We'll talk about that in today's episode as well. We also have the King of the Ring tournament semifinals in the men's bracket with Obafemi taking on AAA Mega Champion Dominic Mysterio. We'll talk about that in today's episode as well. But let's start off the night, man. We hear from the Tribal Chief himself, Roman Reigns. Roman comes out to the ring with the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu, and the Usos. Roman asks the fans in Baltimore to acknowledge him. Roman says that there is blessed men in this ring, talking about the Usos and Jacob Fatu. Roman mentions Jay advancing in the King of the Ring tournament. Roman also asks the crowd to acknowledge Jay. Roman then hypes up the Usos, and he praises Jimmy Uso. Roman asks the crowd to acknowledge Big Jim. Fans then start chanting Fatu. Jay then yells at Fatu, saying he needs to acknowledge them. Roman says it seems like we have a problem. Roman and Fatu get face to face in the middle of the ring. Roman says, "You don't want to acknowledge the Usos?" Fatu then grabs the mic. Fatu says he doesn't listen to the Usos, but he acknowledges his Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Roman and Fatu then once again get face to face. Roman says, "Good. We don't need yes men around here." Roman then says he heard whispers in the back about the Bloodline. Roman says, "Newsflash, the Bloodline has always been here." Roman mentions Umaga, Yokozuna, the Wild Samoans, and Rikishi, all kind of starting the Bloodline within professional wrestling. Roman says that Fatu is no longer an outsider. Roman then welcomes Fatu to the family business and welcomes him into the Bloodline family. After that, Roman then hands Fatu Ulafala. Then the Usos and Fatu and Roman, they all leave the ring, and they all say hello or goodbye to comedian Eric Andre. Roman gives a high five to Eric Andre. The Usos kind of, give a high five to Eric Andre as well. But then Fatu passes Eric Andre, and then Eric Andre goes to touch Fatu's Ulafala. This pissed off Fatu. Fatu then attacks Eric Andre in the middle of the ring. WWE security and Adam Pearce are here trying to stop Fatu from the attack on Eric Andre. Roman is here. He is standing on the apron. Pearce is trying to tell Roman, hey, get him down off the top rope. Roman tells Pearce, you want him down? Roman then signals to Fatu. He shrugs and then tells Fatu to attack. And then Fatu then lands an Uso splash, or a splash, if you will, taking out Eric Andre. Then finally the Usos, Fatu, and Roman leave the ring, but Roman tells Fatu, you know what? One more time. Fatu then rushes the ring, hits another splash off the top rope, taking out Eric Andre. A couple of things I want to talk about this, man, and we'll talk more about this in depth at the end of today's episode. So, here's the deal. I know a lot of people, are either thrilled about this shit with the Bloodline as far as going into SummerSlam, the fact that we got Jey Uso advancing to the finals in the King of the Ring tournament. Obviously, there's a lot of heat right now and storyline around the Bloodline. Some people are okay with it. Some people are actually excited about it. And there's some people out there that are just completely done with the Bloodline bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm done with the Bloodline bullshit. And the reason why that is because, there was rumors and speculations of one Zilla Fatu showing up in Orlando at the Performance Center down in NXT. And it looks like WWE is trying to scout Zilla to bring Zilla in to the WWE. First and foremost, I've praised Zilla. I think Zilla has been killing it on the indies right now. He's wrestled in over different independent promotions, most notably House of Glory. He's had a fantastic career on the indies. Not taking anything away from Zilla Fatu. My question, though, is how is this going to play out? Some people have mentioned that maybe this brings in The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and somehow kind of has some kind of inner turmoil here within the bloodline, and then somehow Dwayne The Rock Johnson comes back and maybe challenges Roman Reigns going into this year's or next year's WrestleMania. I don't know how this is going to play out. What I do know is this. Obviously, there is some inner turmoil within the bloodline itself right now between Jacob Fatu and the Usos, most notably Jay and Jacob, which is intriguing. We also know that Jey Uso is in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, which we'll talk about the King of the Ring tournament at the end of today's episode and where I think the King of the Ring tournament is going to end up going at the end. So we have Jay advancing in the tournament. You know, Fatu finally is somehow involved in the bloodline now. He's a part of the family after, you know, seemingly he's been a part of the bloodline since he showed up and debuted in WWE. Roman presented Fatu last night with a Ula Fala, which, by the way, I think the Ula Fala that Fatu has is pretty cool, man. It's like a rustic wooden Ula Fala, which I think is pretty cool. You know, and I still praise Fatu. I think Fatu, I still believe Fatu is one of the best acquisitions that WWE has gotten in a very long time. I mean, Fatu has been killing it on the indies before he came into WWE. He had a great run or a decent run in MLW. You know, Fatu is a force to be reckoned with, man. I have praised Fatu ever since he came into WWE. The guy has future world champion written all over. Whether that's him beating Roman one day or becoming WWE Undisputed Champion is still yet to be seen, but he will be a future world champion, no doubt. My question, though, and my worry with this, as far as the bloodline is concerning, you know, as far as I'm concerned with the bloodline, is how is this going to play out, especially for Roman, going into SummerSlam and going into the summer? That's my biggest concern because, you know, there's already been speculation and rumors of Roman running it back with Cody Rhodes. Some people say it's going to happen. Some people say it's not. Honestly, I'm on the same boat as far as I hope it doesn't happen. Because we've already gone through the whole Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns bullshit, the whole bloodline, the whole Cody Rhodes ending his story at WrestleMania 40. We don't need to run that back with Cody and Roman Reigns. It doesn't need to happen. That whole storyline in itself is over. You know, I think now is my question with Roman is where do we go from here? And a lot of that has to come down to the King of the Ring tournament, which again we'll talk about at the end of today's episode. But you know, like I said, man, as far as I'm concerned with the bloodline, I don't hate it. I just need it to be amplified more than what it is now. It can't be this shit where Roman comes out, cuts a 15-minute, promo or a segment, and then he rides off into the goddamn sunset. I need something else. I know other people are also patiently waiting for the return of CM Punk, which we all know there's been news and rumors and all this other shit going on with CM Punk, and hopefully I will put a video out to you guys on my thoughts on this whole CM Punk mess that has been going on now for the past couple weeks. But CM Punk is sorely missed on Monday Night Raw. There's no doubt about it. But there's also rumors that CM Punk is also going to be moving brands and leaving Monday Night Raw and going over to Friday Night SmackDown, which, I mean, I don't hate that either because SmackDown needs some star power, man. Cody Rhodes might be QB1, but that quarterback is not running the show over there on SmackDown. I can tell you guys that right now. It's not happening. That show is bland as all hell. So again, man, I'm excited for the bloodline. I'm excited to see what happens with Roman going into SummerSlam, and we're going to talk more about that, especially the King of the Ring, at the end of today's episode. And speaking of the King of the Ring, we have a semifinal matchup in the women's bracket in the King of the Ring tournament. It is Io Sky taking on Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez. Now, I thought this was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Io and Raquel, with Io keeping the pace of the match. Raquel then sends Io into the barricade, followed by Raquel hitting a suplex on Io Sky. Raquel then sends Io into the ring post on the outside, but Io gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting a Meteora, followed by a powerbomb. Io then goes to the top rope, hits a moonsault, landing on Raquel in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and moving on to the finals in the women's bracket in the King of the Ring tournament, is Io Sky. Hats off to Io Sky for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have an announcement. There was an announcement that was made last night on Monday Night Raw, and it looks like there's some unfinished business here between Seth Rollins and the Vision's Braun Breaker. Now, there was an announcement last night that both Rollins and Breaker will have a match at Night of Champions in a steel cage, which I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup between Rollins and Breaker. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Chad Gable taking on Rusev. Now, the one thing I did notice about this match before the match even took place was that the fact that they changed Chad Gable's theme. If you saw Chad Gable last week when he came out and saved Rey Mysterio and Penta and Dragon Lee, Chad Gable came out to his old school theme that he pretty much debuted with on the main roster. But it looks like they changed that, and I think I heard something through the grapevine that he is no longer going to have that old theme anymore. It was a one-time deal, which is unfortunate. But the matchup between Gable and Rusev was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Gable and Rusev, with Rusev keeping the pace of the match. Gable hits a belly-to-belly suplex on Rusev, but Rusev hits a suplex on Gable on the outside. Gable gets up, hits a back suplex, sending Rusev onto the announce table. Rusev then gets up, hits a fall-away slam, sending Gable over the announce table. Gable and Rusev then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Gable hitting multiple German suplexes on Rusev in the middle of the ring. Gable then hits a superplex, followed by Gable applying an ankle lock, but the hold is broken. Ethan Page was trying to help Rusev. Gable then attacks Page. Rusev then hits a Machka kick for a near fall on Gable. Rusev then applies an accolade, but the hold is broken. Gable then hits an angle slam straight out of Kurt Angle's playbook, followed by an ankle lock hold. The referee sounds for the bell, and your winner of the match is Chad Gable. After the match, Ethan Page attacks Gable. Rusev then also attacks Gable. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee come down to the ring to save Gable. Ethan then enters the ring, but Lee attacks Page in the middle of the ring. Some interesting stuff there from Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee saving Chad Gable. Moving on from that, we have LA Knight. LA Knight comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone. He talks about the King of the Ring tournament. But LA Knight says that he had to get to Baltimore no matter what. LA Knight says that he's home. Knight says he didn't return home as a king or a champion, but he says he's never going to give up. LA Knight then mocks the Bloodline and Roman Reigns. Knight talks about Solo Sikoa hitting him with the Samoan spike, seemingly taking him out of the match on Friday Night SmackDown. After that, Jimmy Uso was here. Jimmy says he's out of here. He's out here he's out of here. He's out here just to talk to LA Knight. Jimmy says he knows Knight has beef with the Bloodline, but things have changed. Knight says he doesn't know what to believe anymore. After that, LA Knight and Jimmy Uso are interrupted by Jey Uso. Jey comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone, and says he told Knight Solo is on his own. We're done with Solo. Knight tells Jey to stop. Jey tells Knight that he's better than him. He talks about beating LA Knight on Friday Night SmackDown. Jey then wants LA Knight to acknowledge him. Knight says, yeah, he acknowledges him. He acknowledges Jey to kiss his ass. After that, Jey and LA Knight both have a brawl in the middle of the ring. Jimmy then attacks LA Knight. Jey Uso then grabs a chair, but LA Knight attacks the Usos with a chair. Fatu is here out of nowhere and applies a Tonga death grip on LA Knight. And then Fatu yells at the Usos that he is all in. Some interesting stuff there between Jacob Fatu and the Usos. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's Roxanne Perez from the Judgment Day taking on Charlotte Flair. I thought it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Perez and Flair, with Perez keeping the pace of the match. Perez then was trying to injure the hand of Flair, but Flair hits a sit-out powerbomb on Perez. Liv Morgan, who was ringside, as well as Alexa Bliss. Liv sends Bliss into the ring post, taking out Alexa Bliss. Flair then hits a fall-away slam, followed by a handspring lariat, taking out Perez. Liv then causes a distraction. Perez then hits a springboard moonsault for a near fall. Liv then causes another distraction. Alexa then attacks Liv. Roxanne then goes for a pop rocks, but Flair counters it with a figure eight in the middle of the ring. Referee sounds for the bell, and your winner of the match is Charlotte Flair. Hats off to Charlotte Flair for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we hear from Javon Evans. Javon Evans comes out to the ring. He's being interviewed by Jackie Redmond. Jackie then gives congrats to Evans, but Evans says he's going to put belt to ass on Jey Uso on Friday. Logan Paul is here. Logan Paul returns from injury. He comes down to the ring with Austin Theory. Logan says he's here for Javon. Logan says that Evans is a generational talent, and he has untapped potential. Logan then was trying to recruit Evans to the division, but Evans says hell nah. Logan says that wasn't an invitation. He's demanding him to join the Vision. Logan says Evans is in the Vision whether he likes it or not. Theory says, we're not asking, we're telling you. Evans then, says, I want a referee. And we get an impromptu matchup here between Javon Evans and Austin Theory, which I thought was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup here between Theory and Evans, with Theory keeping the pace of the match. Evans hits a Hurricane Rana, followed by a suplex. Evans then hits a standing moonsault in the middle of the ring for a near fall. Theory gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting a rolling lariat, taking out Javon Evans. Evans then gets up, hits a springboard lariat of his own for a near fall. Evans then hits a Pele kick. Evans then goes for an OG cutter, but out of nowhere, Braun Breaker is here, and Breaker hits a spear on Evans out of mid-air. Referee sounds for the bell, and the match ends in disqualification. After that, the Vision were attacking Javon Evans, but out of nowhere, we hear the Street Profits music hits, and we see Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. The Street Profits then rush to ring. They attack the Vision, and it looks like we're going to get a tag team matchup here between the Street Profits and the Vision for the World Tag Team titles. And moving on from that, we go into our main event of Monday Night Raw. It is a King of the Ring tournament semifinal matchup in the men's bracket. It is Oba Femi taking on AAA Mega Champion Dominic Mysterio. I thought it was a decent match. Dom was playing some mind games with Oba. Oba then sends Dom over the announce table on the outside. Dom then has the ring bell hammer. Oba then attacks JD McDonough. Dominic Mysterio then capitalizes on this by hitting a low blow on Oba, followed by a 619. Mysterio then goes to the top rope, hits a frog splash on Oba Femi. JD then distracts the referee. Oba hits a choke slam on Dom and JD in the middle of the ring. But Oba then launches Dom across the ring. And Oba then hits a fall from grace on Dominic Mysterio in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3. And your winner of the match, and moving on to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, is Oba Femi. After the match, Oba grabs the microphone and says, "One match away, and the ruler will have his crown." Oba then mentions Lesnar. He also says he's surprised Lesnar didn't show up tonight. Oba questions if Lesnar is a man at all. Oba says when it's all said and done, he will be king. Some interesting stuff there from Oba Femi. Couple of things I want to talk about, man, when it pertains to Monday Night Raw before I get the hell up out of here. Number one, I want to talk about the King of the Ring tournament, and I want to talk about Oba Femi. First and foremost, I think this King of the Ring tournament's washed. I honestly do. The way this has planned out, I know a lot of people were expecting to see Brock Lesnar show up at Baltimore last night and attack Oba Femi, which would have cost him to make it to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. That did not happen. So now, seemingly, we have Oba Femi taking on Jey Uso in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, which take place at Night of Champions in Saudi. I'm going to be honest. Do I think Oba Femi's going to win this tournament? No, I don't. I think Brock Lesnar is going to show up in Saudi, cost Oba Femi his opportunity at winning the King of the Ring tournament, and Jey Uso is going to win this year's King of the Ring tournament. There's a lot of issues with this. To be honest with you. Number one, I don't think anybody really wants to see Jey Uso win the King of the Ring tournament. For multiple reasons, man. Nobody wants to see that shit. Nobody wants to see Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes for the Universal title. Nobody wants to see it. And the way the storylines are playing out as far as Jey Uso is concerned with Roman had told Jey a couple weeks ago, hey, you've already had this title. I'm talking about the World Heavyweight Championship. Why don't you go after a title you haven't gotten yet? Being the WWE title. And now that we see Jey Uso in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, it's a very high possibility that Jey Uso is going to walk out winning the King of the Ring tournament and possibly challenge Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. Now, if I was booking this situation for Jey Uso, and if Jey Uso was going to win the King of the Ring tournament, you know what I would do? Even though it's not main event worthy, I would have Jey Uso turn heel or turn babyface, and I would have him challenge Roman Reigns for the heavyweight title at SummerSlam. Knowing that there's some divide right now between Roman and Jey and Jacob Fatu, I can see that playing out as well. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying WWE's going to do it, because we all know that Triple H and WWE like to play it safe, which also causes massive boredom. But if Jey is going to win the King of the Ring tournament, I mean, I would entertain the idea, if I was booking the direction for Jey after he won the King of the Ring tournament, I would book him in a matchup against Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title. I know some people are like, man, why would he do that? He's in the bloodline. The way I see it is the way the storylines are playing out. On one side of the fence, you have Roman Reigns telling Jay, hey, go after a title you have yet to win yet, the WWE title. Go after Cody Rhodes. On the other side of the fence, you can see the story starting to slowly play out with Jey Uso having some distraught within the bloodline. Some issues that he has with Jacob Fatu. The fact that even last night, both the Usos approached Roman Reigns and said, hey man, what's going on with Jacob Fatu? What's going on? Why is he not acknowledging us? And Roman telling the Usos, hey, he's a leader. He's an insider now. He's not a yes man. We need to unleash the Samoan werewolf. You know what I mean? And that causing some divide here between the Usos and Roman Reigns. So, I mean, if they were going to go that route and have Jay win the King of the Ring tournament, yeah, I'm not going to be sitting here saying that, yeah, they're not going to say, okay, yeah, we're going to have Jay versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. That's most likely going to happen at SummerSlam. But then it leaves the question, okay, well, what's Roman going to do going into SummerSlam? This was the same thing I talked about last week where everybody was like, oh, Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins. I don't know. Right now, Seth Rollins still has some vision issues and most notably issues with Braun Breaker. So I don't know how that's going to play out with Seth going up against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the WWE World Heavyweight title. That's still yet to be seen. And we still have some time until we get to August. So we don't know how this is going to play out for Seth going up against Reigns for the World Heavyweight title. So, yeah, on one side of the fence, you have Jay, who could win the King of the Ring tournament and either challenge Cody, most likely challenging Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. On the other side of the fence of the King of the Ring tournament, you have Obafemi, which you would assume that with the stature of Obafemi and the way that they are booking Oba, you would assume, Obafemi to be a surefire win for the King of the Ring tournament. But there's one issue. There's somebody lurking in the shadows, and that's the Beast Brock Lesnar, who's yet to strike when the iron's hot. I'm going to be honest, man. To me, if Oba wins the King of the Ring tournament, great. Then we have Oba facing Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight title. I'm all for it. Do I think that's going to happen? No. We've had now multiple weeks now, past 2-3 weeks, that we've heard Obafemi mention the likes of Brock Lesnar. And Brock has yet to show up. We have not seen Brock Lesnar since the matchup that Brock had against Oba and Clash in Italy, where Brock destroyed Oba. Since then, Oba has been calling out Brock Lesnar for the past couple weeks, and we've yet to see Brock Lesnar. I could see Brock Lesnar showing up in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament and costing Oba his opportunity to become King of the Ring. And now, what does that do? It gives Jey Uso the win, and have Jay most likely challenging Cody Rhodes for the WWE title, and then having Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar most likely taking place in SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota in August, which seemingly most likely will be Brock Lesnar's last match officially, and he will retire in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The question is how do we get there? We know we got some Saturday night main events coming up. I think there's one in July before we get to SummerSlam. I think that one's going to be in Madison Square Garden. I know there's one Sunday night's main event, I think, that's taking place in Atlanta. But they're looking to book a big match, I would assume so, for their Saturday night's main event episode in Madison Square Garden. Is this something where we're looking at the fact that Obafemi versus Lesnar at the Garden, at Saturday night's main event? We know Brock's up 2-1, or it's 1-1, and we're getting another match. Are we going to get 4 matches here between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar? Is that going to happen? Is Oba going to go into Madison Square Garden and beat Brock Lesnar at the Garden at Saturday night's main event, and then they still continue the storyline between Brock and Oba for a 4th match at SummerSlam, where Oba would go over? There's multiple different avenues and different routes to take when it pertains to Brock and Oba. That's the other issue. And the other big issue is, what do we do with Roman going into SummerSlam? If Jay is going to win the King of the Ring tournament, the most likely route that he's taking is going to be against Cody Rhodes for the WWE title, only because Roman has told Jay, hey, go after a title you have yet to win yet, and that's the WWE title. So this leaves the door wide open for Roman Reigns going into SummerSlam. And the fact that who is going to challenge Roman for the World Heavyweight title. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, Seth Rollins. I don't know. If it is Seth Rollins, my question with Rollins would be, how in the hell do we get there? with Rollins. Rollins is out of the King of the Ring tournament. He's not going to win the King of the Ring tournament. And right now he's dealing with division and most notably dealing with Braun Breaker. So how are we going to get Seth Rollins from losing the King of the Ring tournament, having a matchup here with Braun Breaker, to getting Rollins ready for a matchup possibly at SummerSlam for Roman Reigns? And how are we going to get this story? We already know they've been rumoring to have this match for a while. We've heard Seth Rollins say that he wants a match with Roman Reigns. And he also wants his World Heavyweight title back. But how do we get there? Because right now, on paper, to me, right now, I just don't see it. I do not see it. Right now, Seth Rollins has a Braun Breaker issue. The matchup was announced last night on Monday Night Raw that it will be Seth Rollins taking on Braun Breaker at Night of Champions in a steel cage matchup. So how do we get from that to Seth Rollins then finally challenging Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam? We don't even know. To me, it would be crazy if they do not book Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, being that Brock Lesnar has ties to the Minneapolis, or at least the Minnesota area alone. The guy went to college there. He was a collegiate athlete at the University of Minnesota, NCAA champion. Brock has ties to Minnesota. We all know this. We're all well aware of this. So not having Brock Lesnar on this SummerSlam card in Minneapolis, Minnesota would be absolutely absurd. So, again, where does this leave Roman? If I was fantasy booking this shit as far as the King of the Ring tournament, I told you guys I would have Jay flip the script, and rather than Jay going after Cody Rhodes, I would have Jey Uso going after Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title. Due to the inner turmoil that we see slowly, starting to build here between the Usos and Roman, and the Usos, or Jay and Jacob Fatu. We all know right now Jey Uso is a loose cannon right now. Absolutely. Look what he did to LA Knight last night, which we'll talk about here in a second as well. We all know that Jay's a loose cannon. If I was fantasy booking this shit for the King of the Ring tournament, I'd have if Jay's going to win it, then I would have Jay possibly challenge Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title. But at the end of the day, if Jay wins the King of the Ring tournament, I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off about it, regardless. Because they don't want to see Jay in that situation. They don't want to see Jay in the main event scene. We've already seen main event Jey Uso with the World Heavyweight title, and a lot of people were upset with his title reign and his title run. I can't necessarily say that I blame him. I told you before, man, that whole Yeet era, to me, has been dead and gone for a while, ever since Jay beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. To me, it's been done. It's been dead. So, I don't know. I feel as if WWE kind of backed themselves in a corner here with this King of the Ring shit, to be honest with you. Honestly. Because like I said, bro, on paper right now, the for sure fire win, or winner of the King of the Ring tournament, would be Obafemi. And have Obafemi be the King of the Ring and seemingly possibly challenge Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title going into this year's SummerSlam. Now, again, the question mark with Oba right now, 100%, is Brock Lesnar. That's the huge elephant in the room right now. When is Brock, or is Brock, going to cost Oba the King of the Ring tournament? We don't know. Or is this something where Oba is going to win the King of the Ring tournament, and he goes after Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title, and in that matchup at SummerSlam, Brock cost him the match? I don't know. Brock is the wild card in all of this, especially the King of the Ring tournament, especially Obafemi. Brock plays a significant role in how all this plays out for the King of the Ring tournament. So that's the $1 million question. If Jay wins, what's next for Roman? That's the biggest $1 million question going into the King of the Ring finals, honestly. The other thing I want to talk about, too, is LA Knight. Look, man, I know there's a lot of people out there that are huge LA Knight fans. Huge LA Knight fans. I'm going to be honest, man. LA Knight, do I think LA Knight is still immensely over as he once was? No. And I think LA Knight realizes that as well. He had an interview with Chris Van Fleet. He already said that the pops that he gets from the crowd have changed drastically over the years, especially in the States. It's not the same. Do I still think he's a big star in WWE? Yeah, he could be. Do I see WWE pushing LA Knight as a main event star? No, I do not. Bro, there's been multiple opportunities for LA Knight, and WWE has yet to pull the trigger on LA Knight. We're also talking about a guy that's up there in age. I think he's close to 40, almost close to 40, if not 40. And time is ticking for LA Knight. especially within the confines of WWE. And I just don't see WWE pushing LA Knight into a significant role, a strong storyline, and having him become world champion. I just don't see it. LA Knight right now is mid-card at best for WWE. I don't think the creative team or Triple H and the powers that be have a vision for LA Knight. I don't think they see him as a main event caliber talent. I don't think they see him as a main event guy that's going to become world champion and carry this company on his back. He's a mid-card. He's the best mid-carder they have, in my honest opinion. And that's not me taking anything away from LA Knight. It's a shame that WWE doesn't see the vision with LA Knight. He's great on the microphone. He's good in the ring. I mean, yeah, he was U.S. champion, but his title reign was shit. It was absolute dog shit. I don't think LA Knight has that much leverage in WWE anymore. I really don't. I honestly, I said this, I believe it was last week, that I would not be surprised if LA Knight has one foot out the fucking door by now in WWE. There's nothing left for him to do in WWE, bro. I mean, how many times, every time we have seen LA Knight now, for I don't know how long, LA Knight has always been attached to the bloodline. At the hip, man. Whether it's LA Knight going up against the Vision and having the Usos involved and helping him out with that. I mean, Christ, LA Knight was in a tag team matchup at WrestleMania he was teaming up with the Usos, taking on IShowSpeed and the Vision. I mean, LA Knight has been tied to the hip with the Usos and the bloodline for as long as I remember, man. It's absolutely fucking insane. And now here we are now on Monday Night Raw last night, live from Baltimore, Maryland, and it's still the same shit with LA Knight. It's, well, he feels like he got an unfair hand in WWE, or the Usos or the bloodline itself are causing his destruction and all this other shit, and the downslope of his career. It's always been the same shit. LA Knight has been tied to the hip with the Usos and the bloodline because they don't have any other creative plans right now for LA Knight. I think the whole LA Knight experience for a lot of people has run its course. I think people are starting to finally figure out that, hey, they're not going to do shit with this dude, man. They're not going to push this guy. They're not going to put the world title on him. There's no vision for LA Knight. You know, and I watched that promo last night, or that segment between LA Knight and the Usos, and I'm like, man, this shit here is rinse and fucking repeat. They don't have a vision for LA Knight. His vision is to be attached to the bloodline. And some kind of bloodline storyline here, whether it's Solo and LA Knight, or Solo and Jey Uso, or the Usos, LA Knight and Jacob Fatu possibly now, or LA Knight and Roman Reigns. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous, man. You have no other aspirations for this guy at all whatsoever besides him beefing with the bloodline. He's calling out Roman Reigns. Well, not for nothing, bud. You're the back of the line. You had an opportunity once again at the King of the Ring tournament, and once again WWE said, nah, we're not going to have him win the tournament. We're not going to go with LA Knight, but instead we're going to go with Jey Uso. What does that tell you, man? They have no vision for this dude, bro. They have no idea what to do with the likes of an LA Knight. None. Yeah, maybe he might be lucky and go after the U.S. title and win it again, but that's about it. There's no way in hell that we're going to see this guy as a top star in WWE. It's just not going to happen. He's WWE's best mid-carder at best, which is a fucking shame. It's a goddamn shame, man, because LA Knight has the microphone skills. He can wrestle in the ring. He's great on the mic. He has great promo skills. It's just they're not willing to push him. You know what I mean? They're not. You know, and I feel like LA Knight's time has come, bro. To be honest with you, I think it's surpassed him. I think the fact of getting into the mindset of, okay, yeah, maybe LA Knight will be a main event guy and be a world champion. I think that whole thought process, at least for me, has surpassed. Because how many opportunities, bro, from the Rumble to the King of the Ring tournament? I mean, how many opportunities has this guy had, and he's come up short? And like I said, he's always attached to the goddamn bloodline. I just mentioned prime example. He was just in a six-man tag team matchup with the Usos at Mania, taking on IShowSpeed and I believe Logan Paul and Austin Theory. I mean, what more examples do you want? You know, he's in the King of the Ring tournament. He's been beefing with Jey Uso and dealing with the Usos and all this other shit now for I don't know how long, bro. They have no other storyline for this guy. This is the best that it gets for LA Knight. I mean, hell, he's barely even showcased on TV, and when he is, it's always LA Knight and him being pissed off at Roman and the bloodline. It's rinse and fucking repeat, bro. Like, let's move on and do something fucking different. Move on. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's mind-numbing, bro. It really is. It really, really is. And I hope the best for LA Knight. I really do. But I don't know. I don't know. The other thing I want to talk about is the return of Logan Paul. Logan Paul is back in WWE. He's still wearing an arm brace from the surgery that he had to get on his arm. I believe he had a torn tricep or bicep or some shit like that. And he's finally back in WWE. It's great to have Logan Paul back. I know a lot of people don't like the guy. I think it's great for the Vision, even though the Vision is cursed 100%. I mean, if you go down the Rolodex of superstars they have on that damn stable, every single one of those guys, besides Theory, knock on wood, has been injured. Braun Breaker had hernia surgery. Bronson Reed's out with injury. Logan Paul got hurt. I mean, hell, even Paul Heyman got hurt. You know what I mean? That Vision stable is fucking cursed. Look at Seth Rollins. He was also in the Vision. Got injured. That Vision stable is absolutely 100% cursed. So it's great to see Logan Paul back. You know, I'm hoping, I know there's a tag team match up here between the Vision and the Street Profits. Look, man, I'm going to be honest. I'm hoping the Profits win because I don't need to see Braun Breaker walking around one half of the World Tag Team Champions. This guy needs to be in the main event scene just like an Obafemi. That is the future of this business. The future of WWE is Obafemi and Braun Breaker. 100%. I don't need to see Braun Breaker walking around one half as the World Tag Team Champions. And the only reason why he did that is because Logan Paul was out with injury. Now that Paul is back, I don't know if he's able to be medically cleared to compete. At right now, I don't know with that arm brace, but once he is cleared and they're still somehow tag team champions, I want that title off Breaker and back on Logan Paul. I don't need to see Breaker as one half of the World Tag Team Champions teaming up with Austin Theory. I can give a rat's ass about that shit. 100%. As far as the rest of the King of the Ring tournament, I mean, I was happy with the outcome of Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. I was, and I praise Raquel, man. I think Raquel has really come into her own as of late. 100%. But I did not want to see, and I repeat, did not want to see Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament in the women's bracket. I don't need to see some inner turmoil storyline and a breakdown of the Judgment Day within the confines of the King of the Ring tournament. And I do not need to see Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez in the finals for you guys just to play out a story within the Judgment Day. That's a crock of shit. That's a bunch of bullshit and lazy-ass booking. I'm happy that Io won, and I'm hoping Io should win the Women's King of the Ring tournament and move on. And honestly, I think the best bet, because the winners of their tournaments, respectfully, in the women's and the men's, have a championship match at SummerSlam. I would 100% book Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship. 100%. 100%. Without even within a heartbeat. Absolutely. There's a story there. There's a history there between Rhea and Io. 100%. 100%. Because with Liv, currently right now, she is the women's world champion. Even though she has no title defenses, hasn't done jack shit with this title reign. It's probably one of the worst title reigns of all time for Liv Morgan. Probably number one. And I know that WWE is waiting for the return of Stephanie Vaquer. And her return supposedly has been imminently now for the past few weeks. So I don't know what's going on with Stephanie Vaquer, but she needs to come back to WWE. And that matchup's going to happen. Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer for the women's world title. So I could see Io winning the Women's King of the Ring tournament and hopefully challenges Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship. I think it's a great match. I think it'd be a great addition and a great match to SummerSlam, because there's no way in hell you're going to have the biggest event of the summer and not have the likes of Rhea Ripley or Io Sky on that SummerSlam card. So why not have both of them on the card facing against each other for the WWE Women's Championship? Sold. Absolutely sold. So I don't know, man. To me, all in all, with Monday Night Raw, it wasn't a bad show. They were live from Baltimore, Maryland last night. A lot of commercials, I'll say that. You know, but like I said, I think at the end of the day, the question mark is the King of the Ring tournament, and most notably Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is playing a huge, significant role right now, whether people like it or not, in the outcome of the King of the Ring tournament. Is Brock going to show up in Saudi and cost Obafemi the opportunity at becoming the King of the Ring? Is this going to further the storyline here between Oba and Brock, going into possibly Saturday night's main event in Madison Square Garden, or SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and ultimately have Jey Uso become King of the Ring tournament, which again, a lot of people are going to be upset with. A lot of people are going to be pissed off about with Jey becoming King of the Ring. And again, you had to ask, okay, where's the direction that Jey is going? Is Jey going to challenge Cody Rhodes, or is he going to flip the script and challenge Roman Reigns? And if he doesn't challenge Roman, I mean, my opinion, if I was fantasy booking it, I'd rather see Jey versus Roman than Jey versus Cody Rhodes. But if that doesn't happen, and we have Jey challenging Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam for the WWE title, then where does this leave Roman Reigns going into SummerSlam this year in August? There's a lot of different, I said this earlier, man, there's a lot of different routes that WWE can take with this, but I do feel as if WWE kind of backed themselves into a big, big corner with this King of the Ring tournament and the King of the Ring fallout, for sure. I think they backed themselves in the corner, and it's a problem. It's a huge problem for WWE. And we're going to see how this plays out now in the next couple of weeks, for sure, especially at Night of Champions. It's going to be very telling to see how that shit plays out in the King of the Ring final, for sure. Because again, the question is always going to be, until we get to Night of Champions, is where and when are we going to see Brock Lesnar? Because we know that he's hiding in the shadows right now, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike Oba Femi. The question is when and where? That's the $1 million question. We know he's lurking in the shadows, so when is he going to strike and cost Oba Femi to lose his crown, or not even get his crown at the King of the Ring tournament? You know what I mean? We know Oba has been mentioning Brock Lesnar now for the past couple weeks, and we've yet to see Brock Lesnar. We know Lesnar's coming. We know another match is going to happen between Lesnar and Oba Femi. It's going to happen. The question is now is when are we going to see the Beast, Brock Lesnar, show up and cost Oba Femi the King of the Ring tournament? Most likely it's going to happen at Night of Champions. We all thought it was going to happen in Baltimore, but that did not happen last night. So most likely we're going to see Brock Lesnar in Saudi and cost Oba the King of the Ring tournament. Which again, it's going to cause a lot of issues, a lot of backlash from a lot of fans with Jey winning the King of the Ring tournament. 100%. I don't think there's going to be anybody in the wrestling community that's not going to be a little upset and pissed off on the fact that Jey Uso won the King of the Ring tournament, because people are done with the main event Jey Uso. We're done with it. It ran its course. We're done with it. Hell, I can tell you right now, me personally, I'm done with it. 100%. 100 million %. And my thing is, the reason why I'm bringing up Jey challenging Roman is because what I stated earlier is the fact that we can see some inner turmoil here between the Usos and Roman and Jey and Jacob Fatu, where Jacob is pretty much telling Jey, hey, you either fall in line or you fall off, and we keep it moving. You know what I mean? There's a new sheriff in town, and that's Jacob Fatu. So there is some turmoil here between Jey and Jacob, and with the Usos approaching Roman last night on Monday Night Raw and telling Roman, hey man, what the hell's going on here? What the hell's the deal? What's going on with Fatu? He's not going to acknowledge us now? What the hell is this? And Roman telling the Usos, hey, he's a leader. He's his own man. He's going to do what the hell he wants to do under Roman's, knowledge. You know what I mean? And it kind of left the Usos confused. Even in when they were in the ring, the Usos looked confused. When, Jacob got the Ulafala. You can see Jey and Jimmy, whispering back and forth and all this other shit. So you can see that there is some divide already within the bloodline between the Usos, Roman, and the Usos and Jacob Fatu. So again, they could not play it safe and have Jey, being that he's a loose cannon, say, you know what, the hell with the WWE title, I'm going to challenge the Tribal Chief for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam. Maybe Jey said, hey, I'm tired of taking the bullshit from Roman, and the shit with Jacob Fatu, because they feel like he's being underappreciated or not respected. And maybe Jay's like, you know what, the hell with the WWE Championship. I'm going to challenge the Tribal Chief. I'm going to challenge Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, which again is not the best outcome or best solution. Either one is a shit match. No one wants to see Jey and Cody, and no one wants to see Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. The only reason why I'm saying it's different is because it's different. It's them not playing it safe. It's them going against the grain. You know what I mean? That's in my opinion. But again, I mean, there's multiple different avenues to see how this plays out, man. That's the whole storyline within this. Because let's say hypothetically Jay does challenge Roman, then where does this leave Cody Rhodes going into SummerSlam? You know what I mean? That's the $1 million question. That is the $1 million question. So if we get Jay and Cody at SummerSlam, then again, the flip side of that coin is what's next for Roman? There's no way in hell you're not going to have Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns a part of this year's SummerSlam. Now, the other wild card in this is CM Punk. When, everybody's saying, oh, CM Punk's done, he's pissed off with WWE, he's leaving, he's going back to AEW, which is the most craziest nonsense bullshit I've ever heard my entire life. We know that CM Punk is returning back to WWE in July. And this is before SummerSlam. So again, is CM Punk going to play a major factor into this whole situation with Cody or Roman? Because again, I will remind you, the last time we seen CM Punk, he had that interaction with Cody Rhodes. And CM Punk told Cody Rhodes, you never know when an opportunity is going to fall out of thin air. Is CM Punk going to get that matchup with Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam? Because if that happens, sign me up. Because that's a dream match for me. I would love nothing more to see CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. It'd be a great matchup. But we know that Cody has a tall tale task coming up here on Friday Night SmackDown because he's challenging, well, not challenging, but defending the WWE title against Gunther with special guest referee Sami Zayn on Friday Night SmackDown coming up this week. So again, we're going to see how this shit plays out, man. We're going to see how it plays out. But this King of the Ring tournament, this finals of the King of the Ring tournament is going to be very telling to see the direction that WWE is going into the biggest event of the summer, being SummerSlam, man. So I'm definitely excited to see how this King of the Ring tournament final plays out at Night of Champions. But with that being said, though, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe, be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.